Uh, Sometimes you kind of play yourself just a little bit, and this kind of it to an extent. I have this Ford Probe GT, and it's a quick car. It really is a quick car, but there's no parts available. Like, there's nothing. Like, nothing. Not even the shift knob for it, specific for it. Nothing. Nothing is available. So it sucks a lot to make this car faster than what it is, beyond stock form. So sometimes you just have to go to the extreme. And I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here. I'm converting this car to coilovers, and I'm upgrading the shocks. So coilovers themselves suck without shocks. If you don't have a shock strong enough to dampen the springs, the car will just go bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce, bounce and bounce. So you want to upgrade your shocks while you do the springs. Now, the stiffer the shock, the stiffer the spring, the stronger the shock has to be, because the spring travels less distance faster, and the forces are much greater. So you need to really up the game. So a stock shock with like double the spring rate of what you have is gonna be horrible. It's just gonna feel like it's faster, but every time you hit it like a little bump, or the car gets disturbed in a corner or exits or whatever, the car will just want to get out of it, get right under it. So to make it safer, shocks also important. All right. So I got this Chinesium coilover kit, which is, I just needed to get this piece, the perch with a nut, made out of cheap aluminum, and this part, the top. Not sure how to call it, but it just creates this place where you can put the coil springs. And I got a bunch of coil springs there, right there, and I kind of know what they are. So this allows me to play with the springs. I guess one of the rules is you don't want to have the same spring rate back and forth. You need to have a different, because again, on the bumps, dips, and wherever, the car will get very upset. Right? So this is what I'm going to be using for the rear shocks. These are Bilsteins, as you can see by the yellow color. It's the trademark, I guess. And this type is an inverse shock. So when you mount it, you can see this is standard. You can see how small this is. It's just this size, and how big this is. And the reason this is so big is that I actually mounted from the bottom. So the shock mount is here, and it's maybe like 10mm rod. But this is its bearing, and this is its shock, and it works here. The shock portion is inside here. This is the gas cylinder area, and it goes up and down. I can actually open one up. So this is actually a stock replacement, not stock replacement, improvement performance shock for Audi 90 and Volkswagens, a bunch of them. Part number, oh jeez, part number 34-030066. So this is a B8 brand, Boy 8. So it's stiffer, it's made for lower cars. It's a little bit stiffer, a little bit better performance than stock. And I got these shocks. This one is basically the same as this, but bigger, much bigger. And this part number is 35-223122. It's a universal 36mm strut, 6.6-inch treble. So what you get out of the box, I already machined it. So there's a bunch of threads here. This part is unfinished, so you have to get it finished. The steel was very soft, it was horrible to machine. And you can actually take it apart. I can show you what's inside of this one. You can actually take this apart. There is a nut on the back. You take that off and the whole thing comes apart. Screw, 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 screw. So it comes as a kit. I still need to put it together, but not until I finish welding it. So you have the housing. You weld that to this. So I need to take this apart, take this out, and just use this part and weld it on that shock. That's for the front. And this is how it looks inside. So it's pretty much 4 inches till it hits the bump stop, and then a little bit more for the bump stop. And this is the way it works. Oh yeah, it's a very high pressure, and this is basically the same as inside. And yeah, ta-da! Shock. So one thing to consider is the why this is a little bit better is because this part is concealed. So all these working parts is out of the way. This area is just the bearing for it to go up and down and receive the loads. The gas is up here in this section. There's a little like a valve, not a valve, a piston, free floating piston, gas area, oil area, and then you have this part going up and down. This is all rebuildable, so you can just take it, send it to build stand. The build stand checks that it's all good, rebuilds it, send it back to you, and off you go again. This is high pressure, so it says actually do not open, you'll explode. You don't want to overheat it either, so you don't want to weld on this part. Alrighty. So there's 2 ways I'm doing this. There's the front and the rears. This is the front, so that's a different story. And the back, I have to reuse part of the housing. Oh, this is the way it starts. You have a shock, spring housing, and upper mount. I took the shock apart, and I'm going to show you how I did it. And I have to drill a hole. I need to open this hole up a little bit still. And pretty much modified a little bit. I drilled out a hole on this mount so it fits. And I trimmed the upper mount just so it fits. And everything just bolts up. This part needs to be welded in. And I made some adapter rings, but you can make your own. Before I weld this in, measurements is number 1, so you have to measure everything, make sure it will work. You don't want to just say, oh, it's adjustable, I'll put it anywhere. You want to put it so you can adjust it. And I need to install this part. This part varies, it goes up and down. And so I need to create a stop here. And I got some 1/4 inch square bar that I will bend. So it fits here, and I'll create a stop, and I'll just weld it where it needs to be. Alright. So this is basically what it's all about. It's lots of work, and if you give it to somebody, it's going to be very expensive. The easiest way of getting about is actually this shock. This is $350 each. You can buy a full kit, and sadly they will not machine it for you. You have to find somebody to machine it for you. And after that, you just need to reuse this bottom part and this top part, or get some different to bolt up, and it'll fit your car. Now most performance cars, not Ford Probe GT, will have aftermarket support, so you'll be able to get some part that will just bolt on and you will not be wasting your time doing this. But I got stuck with this car, so, and it's really quick, so I want to make it reach its near its full potential, so it'll be a lot more fun, because it is fun. Alright, so let's get cracking. First thing first would be to, I guess, work on the rear. So I'm gonna open the hull. I'm gonna see how I can mount this. Alrighty. Alright, so I need to create a ring that will wrap around the bases to create a stop for the perch. So the easiest way I find out to do this is take a square bar. Can it focus? Focus you. Not me. There you go. Take a square bar and just cut it. Just halfway. Just keep focusing. There you go. You cut it halfway and then you can bend it. Now the problem is your cuts will not be precise, so do not bend it until you start installing it. So once you start installing, you, let's say start in the middle, you can weld the center section in and then just hammer it all around, and it will conform to the piece, and have a very good full weld on the bottom. Bugs. And on the other side that you need to weld, or where you can weld, and then that'll be it. It doesn't matter that it's open. I mean, you can feel it if you want to, but it doesn't have to be filled. The piece will rest on this, and the weld will support it. So gonna be fine. So make a bunch of this. The formula is 2 pi r, or diameter times pi. Pi. And so 2-inch diameter is 2-inch, and pi is like 3.14. So you're looking for about 6 and 3/8 or so. So 6 1/4 if you want to cut it. I figured I marked mine already. There you go, at about 1/4 inch. So whatever I get to the point, I just chop, and it's good to go. And I need to make 4 of them. And if you even have a piece missing, it doesn't matter. As long as more than 50% of it filled up and it's more or less distributed, it's fine. And you don't have to sweat over it too much. It's just a stop for the entire weight of the car. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to keep cutting, and yep. After multiple trips to the store, I was able to do one, which is good. I made the pieces I showed before. So, well, all I can say is Harbor Freight is garbage. I don't even know why I keep going there. Maybe just for the free stuff. It's a waste of money, and only few things are good there, and I mean they're good everywhere else as well. So there's no point of going there at all. So moving forward, I'll stop buying Harbor Freight unless they sponsor me directly. Alright. So, what have I done? So, I made a hole here on the bottom. This, so the shock fits through. And the reason I did this, because I can drop the shock a little bit down to get to the height that will work the best. Because yes, I can leave it higher up, and yes, it'll work, but there's gonna be this dead space where the spring is doing nothing. So by eliminating that space, I will gain some more usable space. So if I want to drop the car more, I'll be able to do it much easier. So that's why I did that. So it's quite a mess right now, and I'll have to clean this. Get a little crap on this. So make sure you keep it clean, keep your shaft clean and free of debris for maximum pleasure. So here is the stock rear. So I looked up some numbers, and for the rear the spring rate is 141 pounds per inch. The load is 456 pounds, and the stock spring will compress 3.6 inches. This one, and this one. Oh my god, there's so much crap. Jeez. Where's the other spring? Oh, wait, no, that's the front. Ah, here it is. It was the same part. So here is the stock spring that is free. So now from the numbers, this will compress 3.6 inches. And we're at about 11 and a half-ish. Depends on where we measured from. 11 and a quarter. And remember, this is old spring. So I think it goes from here to there. I'm gonna say 11 and a quarter. It's supposed to be 11.6. Now the stock, I'm gonna go from here to here, is 10. So this is compressed 1 inch when it's inside here. And it's gonna compress 2.5 inches more. So when the car is sitting on stock, and I'm just gonna measure to the bottom, this is 23 3/4. I need writing utensil. So assembled strut is 23 3/4 minus, it's going to compress another 2.6 inches. So let's just call it 2 5/8. And I want to drop it 1 more inch. And the spring that I'm going to put in instead is 450 pounds per inch. So it will only compress 1 inch when loaded. So plus 1 inch for the load. So when my new getup is finished, when it's just sitting and the spring just attaching, it should be 8 fractions, 21 1/8. So let me see. Here we go. So this is my one that I will be using. So when I take this and put it here, and it kind of goes through the hole. Tap it, tap, tap. And it's not screwed in, so it's still approximation. I don't want to screw it in because it's a plastic nylon lock nut. So once I screw it in, it's done. So from the mat, it's going to be 21 1/8. So if you just make it easy, 21 inch, and you measure to the same point as before. Now it's secure. And if you mess up just a little bit, it's not a big deal. It is adjustable. But the closer you get to perfection, the less you have to adjust. There, 21 1/4, and 21 1/8. So here you go. So the shock is actually past the bottom by 1.5 inches. So what does it do? Well, in case the suspension droops out, it will only go as far as the shock. So so the suspension will not go plop. So there's that. And there's always going to be like spring rattle. Depends on the bumps and steers, especially if the wheel drops more than 1 inch. Gonna be loading the entire spring, which is not fun, but it's gonna happen. It is what it is. It's a race car. And this is a spring. Yeah, this is a spring. So I know this is 10 inches, and I know this is unloaded. So from my spring perch to where the other spring perch is supposed to be, if I just measure it out 10 inches, I'll know exactly where my spring perch is supposed to be located. More measure. Ooh, I have new tools. I have soapstone. I always wanted to have a soapstone, so I just bought it. Don't need it, but it's always cool to have. Nope, wrong spot. Alright, so my spring perch, don't measure from, it's going to be from the bottom 9.5 inches. Now I can put it together, assemble it, and actually fit it on the car. I'll have to trim the tube a little bit down so that the thing will fit, and I want to put this back on. So this and the spring don't really make love to each other. This is a little bit too big. So, but once I put it in, this actually will prevent it from dropping down. It's gonna stay up, and that's gonna prevent it from going blang blang blang. Okay, and the next question is, the last question is for the day is, oh boy. Ow. Is where to set this for your base adjustment. Now you can drop it all the way, or if you actually take this for example, you can actually just adjust it so that when you put it all the way up, it's back to like a stock ride height. So I'm just gonna go like 1 inch or so, and it's right now 2. Yeah, I'm gonna put it 1.5 from the top, and that should be where it should be good. I'm like here. A little bit too much. There. So this is going to be here. So I know it's 1.5 inches from here, so I know where this is. And I know that the sleeve is 5 inches deep. By the way, you can buy them bigger. So from this mark is 3.5 inches to where my stop is supposed to be. So that's what we're gonna do next. Mark the bottom. And from here, 2.5 is right there. So the bottom stop is basically 6 inches from the base that I measure from. Okay, so now there's dimension, I can clean the tube and I can start welding, and I can cut the tube 2 lengths so that it matches what I need to do. So the other part is you can verify is by setting it next to each other, side by side. is how much off it is. And you still want to have the same number, 2 5/8. So I'm just guesstimating here, which is very hard. I have 1.5. Is it still the same number? Oh no, it moved. That's fine. It's a 20 and 21 and 1/8. Some like here. Yeah, it's pretty much where it's supposed to be. So I'm happy with this. So let's make one, and we'll see how it goes after this. Alright, see you. We're getting closer and closer. This is the first one, by the way. The second one still I did not touch. But, anyways, I welded in the ring the way I described it. I just welded it. So, I took the piece and I just welded it just in the middle. Only like 2 and like half an inch. And I just hammered it all around on both sides. I'm missing like 2 or 3 links, but really doesn't matter. It just sits well. After I did that, I took this piece, pushed against it, made sure to try to get as much of engagement as possible, and tacked it in a few places and just welded it in place. Fairly simple, except for my welder sucks. But it works, but it sucks. Stick welder is easier. But for this, I just use the MIG. So now I think I'm more or less where I want to be. I got to this point 21 and a quarter, shy of a quarter, and the stuck one is this one. Woo! Wow, that would have been painful. Doesn't want to stand yet. Alright, and the stuck one, same measurement, which is impossible to take. Should be secured somehow. Anyways, let me just lower it down before I lose something. And the stuck one is 23 3/4, the way it was before. So it's 2 5/8 less, which is where I want to be. So next thing I marked where the shock is going to be. I'm going to verify that it'll fit before I proceed too far deep into this whole thing. And I need to cut the top off on this thing so I can have a better fit on this. And weld here, try to use as little heat as possible. And the top I made special ring, but you don't have to. You can actually just take it metal and just wrap it around it, put it in, and just weld it, and that's it. Part of it will have to be exposed. This goes over it, and I'm gonna duct tape this sleeve in so that if I want to take this out, I still can. If I weld this little piece in place, there's a little seal and whatever, which usually screws in. If I weld that in, I cannot take it apart. So So duct tape will work fine. It should. Anyways, alright. Celebratory beer. Come on, you. I'm not drunk yet. You're the first one. There you go. Alright, so I just did one. It's actually still hot. And I welded here around the ring. Can I just hold it? Alright, so let me show you. Come on, you can do it. Focus. Focus. So I put a spacer ring inside, centered it, welded it, complete. Then attacked this in here, as you can see from the weld, it kind of liquefied the grease, which is okay. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's hot. Okay. On the bottom, I welded. Ooh, I'm balancing it on one finger. Right here, all the way around. And also, just in case, welded the bottom cap, because I'm not sure how the design is. I have a feeling that the design is this rests on the bottom of the casing, and that provides the support. So just in case, I just put a bead there. I took time to do this because I didn't want to melt it too much, like here on top. This was just a little bit of welding and it melted the grease, which is fine, but preferably not to. The next step is to clean it up. I'm gonna maybe test fit it first, and then I'm gonna see how the wheel looks. If the wheel looks where it's supposed to be, then I'm just gonna do this one, same as this, and then I can jump on the front. Oh yeah. This ended up to be a very long video, and it's still not finished. I think nobody will watch this, so if you're at this point and you're watching, put something in the comment, something unrelated to anything. Just don't comment on this video, just put a random comment in the comment section if you have gotten to this point in the video. I'm quite curious if anybody actually got to this, because I'm just doing it for shits and giggles. Alright. Carry on. Carry on! Time to assemble it. Now I can show you how I assemble it. Uh-oh. Need to grind it. Put this later. It's hard to put it. Follow me. Let's put it in the car. Alright, as you can see, the wheel is on. There's not enough light in here to show it off, but the coilover is in the whole thing, and I adjusted it to just a little bit less than the stock height, which is great, which is what I wanted to do in the first place. So the jack stand is loose in there, but it's not enough measurement now to actually get it to the point where it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to leave it where it is until I put the car on the ground and let the suspension settle itself, and then I can start messing around with adjustments. This took longer than it should have been because I'm filming. So now I have to do the other side. The other side. Right, day number 2 of this, I guess, build. However you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's time for more shenanigans. Now I finished the rear more or less yesterday, so I'm gonna finish the other one to complete state, or as far as I can go, and I'm gonna start doing the fronts. Where is this? Okay. First of all, they're blown, so it's not like. Yeah. So it's gonna be the same process, but unlike the rear, all I need is this little section. So that's where it's gonna be the struggle, I guess. It's very blown. So somehow I need to cut open this section. And this needs to come off because this is just stamp piece, and I can only see it being welded here on the back side. So maybe I just chop the section off and see if it'll come off. Yeah, let's do it. Where's everything? So I couldn't figure out how it was put together, the front McPherson strut, and I kind of need to know where to cut for it to come apart very easily, otherwise I'll be just struggling all day long. So I put it in acid. Have some muriatic acid, and it should eat away all the crap around it, and should be able to see at the end of the day of where pieces come together. So meanwhile is bubbling, which is working, and I'm gonna do something else. I have plenty of things to do. Alright, so after the acid bath, it is correct that my assumption was right in the first place. It's welded on the back side only. I don't see any other kind of weld, so it's gonna be very difficult for me to cut this. I will have to literally just chop right here all the way as much as I can, clean, and then cut this way. So I guess time to empty the shock of oil, and that's all it's gonna take, and then start cutting, and it's gonna be a lot of cutting again. I guess let's get to it. Alright, so I did one front side, well, just welded it in. So it's so simple I didn't feel like really recording. So it's pretty much taking the blank one. Actually, it starts with the original shock. You have to take it apart. Come over to this side. So, so this actually been in the acid for a little bit, so it cleared up quite well. So I just had to cut across this way, cut this, and then open it up, and then it just comes apart. I still have to take the gas out of it and as much oil as possible so it doesn't stink up as much. At later point, I take that part, slide it over, and weld it on. I test fitted multiple times, made sure that I don't hit too much of the CV joint. I'm gonna have to trim right here a little bit. As you can see, I just welded here, welded inside. It's much stronger than stock for sure. And this one actually did not have to add the ring, because this piece will just sit all the way to the bottom on the weld. So it's pretty fine as is. Actually needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But otherwise, that's it. Pretty much you just have to be assembled, put back in the car. Not complicated at all. The back is complicated. So as I'm wrapping up, I'm gonna make this suspension John Deere coilover setup for your race car. Just gonna give it a touch of paint, so if it rusts, it'll be covered by the paint. I mean, yeah. Anyways, spray. I'm pretty horrible at this. Oh shit, wrong way. And make sure to clean and lubricate your shaft. Oh, missed this part. Hold on a second. There you go. Smells like fresh cut. Smells like fresh cut grass. It is day 3 of this whole mess. I really thought I could do it faster, but I got tired and I was doing a little fine detail work that probably should have not have done. So, anyways, pretty much everything is more or less complete. But first, I do need to clean because I'm gonna leave eventually today, so it's cleaning time. Alrighty, everything is cleaned and I have to go already. Like it's getting very late. It's very late. So almost nearly packed. I put one side in, I put the backs in, and this side I left it out because there needs to be more work. I need to change the lower control arms as well. And looks like it fits. The back, the front has about 3/4 drop. The back has about 1 inch drop. Or until I put it on the ground, I won't know for sure. But that's what how it works out. Guesstimated that, and overall looks pretty darn good. Putting the front bill stand shocks together, that was a little bit of a hassle. There's a little felt and a little holder all the way on the inside, and putting that in is very difficult to put in the just right spot. I don't know if it's even in the right spot when it's in right now, but whatever. The bearings are the easiest part. I was able to use the hole saw that I got from Harbor Freight, the garbage that nobody should buy, as a bearing press. I modified it a little bit, grind it down, stuff. If I can find it, I may have thrown it out already. Anyways, that garbage was useful for something. It's literally garbage, but it was useful for something. And yeah, it looks pretty good otherwise. Some more work on this car. The lower control arms that I mentioned. The seat, I want to drop it as low as I can. With still adjustable thing. And tidied up the exhaust. Front brake lines, bleed the system, fix the brake line leak in the back, and that should do it, technically speaking. Alright, so this was a horribly long video. It spanned 3 days. So I think for this car I will make extra long videos. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Just whatever. Don't subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm just doing this for shits and giggles. I'm not a vlogger like others. Anyways, Right, all done. See you next time. Yeah, that's not working.